Alright, welcome to another video for year 9 where this is regarding the laws of indices and you are trying to use it with numerical and algebraic expressions. So you can see here number 1, number 2, number 3 until number 6 are the laws that you have learned before. So let's proceed to the example. Right, so example number 1, write each of these as a single power of 2 where possible. So let's have a look at part A. Now, when you look at this, this may seem quite difficult, but you can see actually this 2 root 2 can be split into a 2 times root 2. Now, you know that all numbers basically have a power of 1, 2 power 1 times, and square root of 2 can be changed into fraction index with 2 power half. And here, you remember that when you have the same base and there is multiply in between, you can add the power together. So you can have 2 power 1 plus half, so it becomes 2 power 1 and a half. And personally, I don't really like to see a power mixed number, so I can change into 2 power 3 out of 2 as my power. So this is the answer for part 1A. Right, and then next example, you can see here that you have 2 root 3 and then you have power of 2. And this one you have learned previously that you can change this into fractional indices. So I will maintain the base, but the power and the root can become a fraction with you can see here 2 is the power, so 2 becomes the numerator of your power, and root is 3, so 3 is the denominator of your power. Now you can see this is single power of 2, hence your answer. Alright, let's move on to part C. Part C here, this is quite similar to your second rule, which is when you see a division between, you have the same base 2 and 2, and what do you do with the power? So what you're going to do with the power is you subtract the powers, so 3 minus half. So here when you have 3 minus half, this is actually 2 and a half. And like I said previously at example A, I will change this into a mixed number. So this one, it will become 2 power 5 out of 2. So that's for the first example, first 3. Now let's move on to the next page. So you see here in part D. Now let's have a look at part D. Here you have 8 instead of 2. So now what we're going to do is you think about whether 8 can be changed into a number with a base of 2. Yes, of course, it is possible. When you change into index form, 8 is actually 2 times 2 is 4. And then 4, you multiply under 2. So here, 8, it can be changed into 8 power 3, according to this one. So 8 out of 3, and then you don't forget that you have a power of 3/4 outside. So here you are applying the rules where you have to multiply the power. So when you multiply the power together, it becomes 8 power 3 times 3, 9 out of 4, right? So far so good. No, sorry, I forgot about to change the power 8. It becomes 2, sorry. So here 2 power 9 out of 4. All right, now let's move on to the next one. This is quite similar to what you have seen. 4 as you can change into index form, 2 power 2. Now let's proceed to answer this one. So 2 power 3 times 2 power 3 times, you have to multiply it with 2 power 2, and forget the outside power is 3 out of 2. Now you can see here, this one you also apply the rules where you the power meets the power, you have to multiply them together. So the 2 is cancelled, becomes 1 1. So here you have 2 power 3 times 2 power 3. Now this is basically the basic rule. You have to add the powers together. So your final answer will be 2 power power 3 plus 3, so it becomes 2 power 6, right? So that's part E. And then last but not least, same thing here. 4, it becomes 2 power 2. So here 2 power n times 4 is 2 power 2. And don't forget the power 3. But here the same thing, I will highlight this. So you can see that 2 power n. And then here it becomes 2 power 6. And applying the same rule, the basic rule, so here it becomes 2 power and multiply in between, it means you have to add the powers, 2 power n plus 6. So that's for example 1. And then let's have a look here. Now here, when you have to simplify fractions, here it's better for you to focus on what you have inside the brackets first. So here you can see 16, then n power 16, everything will be power quarter. Now 16, you have faced this before, you can change into index form. Now 16 is 2 times 2 times 2, 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8, 8 times 2, 16. So 16 can be transformed into 2 power 4. And then n power 16, you can basically cannot do anything about it. But don't forget about the power. Now here, here where you start to apply the rules where you have to multiply powers with powers. So let's have a look here. 2 power 4, and then you multiply it with 1 quarter. And then n power 16, you also apply multiplication, and you can see here you can cancel for 4 times 1 quarter, and 16 and 4, it becomes 1 and 2. Now so here you're almost there. So 2 power 1 is basically 2, and then n power 2 times 1, so n square. So that's your answer for part A. Now let's proceed to part B. Here it looks quite intimidating, but don't be afraid. You can always see here, when you have a look, you simplify everything that is related to fraction. Now here, x power 2 divided by x power 4, y power 9 divided by y, they are of the same base, and you apply division. So basically here, so let's split the bracket first. 4 is not affected, but x power 2 divided by x power 4, you apply the subtraction of the power. So that's y, so power 9, and then y here, y power 1, so y power 9 minus 1, and then power half. Now here simplify it. 4 x is having power 2 minus 4, negative 2, and then y power 9 minus 1 is 8, and then half. And finally, you apply the rules where you have to multiply the powers. So let's do a little bit shortcut. 4 power half is actually square root of 2, right? Square root of 4, right? So your answer will be 2. Now, x power negative 2 times half. Negative 2 times half is negative 1. So x power negative 1. And then y. And then 8 times half will be 4, right? So here, it's better for you to leave everything in a positive power. So here, it will become 2y power 4 on the numerator. But x power negative 1, it will go down. So x power negative 1 is actually 1 over x. So that's why here, you can leave it as 1 over x. So 2y power 4 over x is your final answer for part B, right? So it's okay here. Now, last but not least, you have to solve this 2. When you can see here, 2 power x equals 16, and second one, 2 power x equals 1 over 8. So similar to what you have done before, you have to make sure that you change 16 into something that you know with the power with the base 2, because here you can see 2 power x, so 16 is actually 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 16. So you can actually change the right hand side 16 becomes 2 power 4. Now you can see here, if you have the same base on the left hand side and the right hand side, you check the power, and when you check the power, this is already your solution. So therefore, x equals 4. Right? So that's simple enough. And let's have a look. When we have 2 power x equals 1 out of 8. Now 8 is actually 2 times 2, 4 times 2. So you can actually change the right hand side. 1 out of 8 becomes 1 out of 2 power 3. Now here you can see that this one is actually 2 power x over 1, and the right hand side 1 over 2 power 3, which is not the same yet. So what you can do is to use the rule where you change 2 power 3 into a negative power. So this is actually 2 power negative 3. And there we have it. They are in the same line. So x is actually equals negative 3. All right. So there you have it. So those are all of the examples in your notes, page 38 and 39. Okay, so I hope that this helps you to understand all the questions. So thank you very much, and that's it. Thank you. See you again.